Hello. So I wanted to put a video out for a little while now about the Jenelle and David Eason court situation, strictly because I do have a background in family court as well as court investigating. So I wanted to put out there, what some of the legalities and what that looks like for people that may not have that experience. There have been plenty of vlogs, I will say, that have done a fabulous job at covering it. I just wanted to put out that understanding and was hesitant. So I didn't do it. I'm not into online arguing or whatever, and I respect all opinions. With that being said, there's so much more shit that's adding up right now, red flags that I see that need to be addressed that people may not see for themselves. I'm going to go ahead into like a little background of the case just so we have a bit of a foundation that's going to explain a lot of the other things I would say. And most of you probably already know, but for a quick recap, the kids were taken a little before Mother's Day from Jenelle and David because Kaiser said in either like school or daycare that he was being abused by David. Mind you, this was a very short time after Nugget was killed. I think that's why the workers were out there in the school, or maybe it was reported. Again, don't have the whole story. We're not going to know a whole lot about those kind of details because this is juvenile court and family court, which means that those records are not public in most states, and what's said in the court cannot be released. Anyways, so the kids were taken. Starting off, Kaiser went with Nathan / Doris, his mom. Ensley, I think, she started with Marissa's maternal grandma, is what I heard. And, oh gosh, what was the other? Marissa. I just said that. Marissa, of course, was set with that maternal grandmother as well. Then the judge said, well, Ensley, I don't know why she's over with Marissa's grandma. That's not related to her. She needs to go with someone related to her. So then Barb got Ensley shortly after. A lot of people said it was not a good idea just because of the way the kids she has raised are like. For me, I wasn't sure if it was a good idea because she is so wishy-washy. And what I mean by that is I can respect that you're walking on eggshells to be around your daughter, trying to turn a blind eye to things. But when it comes to the children, you can't do that. And it seems like she has. Right around Mother's Day weekend, which was maybe a week or two after CPS took the kids, Nathan contacted Jenelle, trying to be the bigger person, to see if she wanted to see Kaiser at his home or in a supervised setting for Mother's Day, to which Jenelle said no, because Nathan stated he did not want David coming around because Kaiser's scared of David, of course, and so Jenelle did not come. She told him, we can FaceTime instead. Okay, this is going to be important a little bit later. Jenelle requested a new judge in that time frame as well and got denied. She stated the judge currently on the case was biased towards CPS. Well, the lawyer put it forward too. Lawyer sounds like an idiot. And that she wanted Kaiser and Ensley to go with her friend and not Kaiser go with Nathan or Ensley go with her mom, which of course was denied because you didn't really prove why that needs to happen. And you didn't prove that the judge was doing anything unethical or showed a bias. And this is the first bit of knowledge I wanted to give to people that a lot don't know. If you request a new judge in a court case, whether that's family or anywhere else, you don't just get that request. You have to file a motion for the court, either yourself or your attorney, obviously, and you attend a court hearing that is separate from family court. I mean, it's a short hearing, not that extensive, but you meet with the chief judge over this. So you would have the hearing with the chief judge where the burden of proof would be on you to prove why this judge needs to be taken off the case. I never heard anything about that happening. Personally, I think Jenelle ended up getting a newer judge recently because it started off as an emergency type of case when the kids were taken away because that judge ordered it. Like, the judge ordered for these kids to be taken out of concern for safety. And the new judge is, I think, again, I don't know, probably now that it's not like an emergency setting, is like strictly family court judge. That is different. I don't think Jenelle got a new judge because of her fit. I think there was some legality behind it. There was an instance where Jenelle got into an altercation with her mother in front of the courthouse. Like, she was following her mother, who had Inslee, pretty much like harassing her almost, all the way to Barbara's car. Like, Jenelle was still there when Inslee was getting in the car, and they were going back and forth, like classic teen mom fight, except for Barb actually kind of took the high road in this because she tried not to make a scene. Jenelle said to Barbara, if you want me to leave, you need to contact law enforcement. And so this is where I think Barbara went wrong. While you do not want to alarm the child, of course, because the kid's innocent, you need to look out for her safety. And we have these people filming, or these people bystanders, because there's some. She could have said, hey, one of you guys go get the cops or something. I mean, and I say this because when a child's taken by CPS and placed with a guardian, you don't just get placed anywhere. The court makes a determination that this is a good place for the child, and they have strict rules and guidelines to follow during that process. And the number one rule these caregivers, guardians usually have to follow is you do not bring that child around the parents that have this case ongoing. Their visitation for a while now has been 1 hour in a visitation center / courthouse once a week. So it's been that way for a while, and even with those, Jenelle and David are not showing up to all of those. There was another instance where Nathan didn't want Kaiser to do the visit because David would be there. If David wasn't there, he would let Kaiser go. This is going to get important soon, yet again. So we have that instance, and then we have the instance, this is, I think, like the same hearing, or maybe a week, give or take, where Nathan's outside the courthouse talking to the press. Shocker, I know. He doesn't even really say a whole lot of like substance, like he doesn't really say anything that bad, but David and Jenelle are driving past him and yelling. David's sticking up his middle finger. And my question with those altercations, why is nothing being done? This just seems absurd to me. And they end up missing those visitations anyways, and that's another strange thing to me. With CPS cases, you have your supervised visitation as ordered by the courts, and CPS usually, you are not allowed to miss many visits at all. I've heard of people losing visitation with their kids over missing twice. It is that serious because it shows whether you want your kid back or not. So they've missed these visits, but they still continue to be able to have visits so they can just visit when they want to. That's odd to me. Okay, another thing I am a little annoyed and red flagged at is the whole psych evaluation thing, and I will tell you why. The psych evaluation, we don't know if it was suggested by CPS, if it was suggested by the guardian ad litem, if it was the judge's own request. I have not heard a whole lot about the psych evaluation. I've heard for a few weeks now that he was supposed to get one, but nothing's come of that yet. I wanted to explain how this usually goes down, the psych evaluation, just for a better understanding. Everyone's experience is different, but this is, I don't know, a little more specific, and is a very common experience. And then you let the court know, like you and the court kind of agree on what place you're going to get that evaluation at. And when you get that appointment, you have to let the courts know the date, or they're notified by the psychologist's office as well. You go in there, you talk to the psychologist for a brief amount of time, just for them to kind of have a background, like run through your childhood, why you have some traumas. But that's not it. Because people keep saying, oh, David's going to bullshit that test because, oh, he's talking to a psychologist and he knows how to manipulate people. That's a fair statement, but the talking is very limited. Most of your time there is spent on a computer taking these tests that are created so that you in no way can be deceitful. There's tests on what diagnoses he may have, for example, like schizophrenia, bipolar. That's in a test, because of the questions asked, it would determine that. And then the other ones are just basic, almost like true and false or multiple choice answers, but that determines whether, I guess, for lack of a better term, crazy or unfit you are. And then once those results come in, they're actually turned into the judge and a lawyer usually. Your lawyer may go over those results with you before you go to court. We may never hear the results unless we have someone talking that's in the courthouse to let us know. Because in the court case, custody, CPS, whatever, normally they'll have the psychologist during a hearing come up and testify to what they found, their observations, and how they came to those conclusions. So it's just odd to me that that's not really happening. It doesn't sound like anything's really happening that the judge has requested yet. I'm wondering about accountability, but she got a new judge. I'll get into that soon. A lot of people also may not realize how some of these proceedings go, as far as Jenelle has her own lawyer, David has his own, Barbara has her own, Nathan has his own, the state/CPS have a legal team, and then you have a guardian ad litem. Now, a lot of people skimmed over that part, but I need to stress, the guardian ad litem is a huge deal. Custody or CPS, we call it DCFS where I am. But that guardian ad litem is the person, he's like the kid's attorney. He talks with the children, maybe the schools, places that they're at, to get observations from several people, tour the home, because they need to come to a conclusion on what is in the best interest of the child. I can tell you from personal experience, if that guardian ad litem does not think that child should be with you, 90% of the time, that's correct. And it will not be ordered in your favor, because it's a professional giving opinions. So nothing's really been mentioned about this guardian ad litem, and it just seems strange to me. I don't know, maybe if people get more of the information from the courts, because a guardian ad litem can request things as well, such as discovery. People don't know, probably, discovery is where you have like a packet of questions pretty much about every detail of your life. I'm not kidding. They may ask for a tax return, bank statements, paycheck stubs. They're going to know everything about you by the time you get done with that. And those answers will be used against you in a court of law if they are not good ones. So there's that. The guardian ad litem could order the psych evaluation as well. I'm not sure who exactly ordered the evaluation at this time. It just seems to me that the guardian ad litem is not doing their job right now. It seems to me what the court is putting in their plan and what they are saying Jenelle and David need to do is a very short list. I've heard marriage counseling, I've heard the psych evaluation, I've heard anger management for David, even though he claims he's not angry. But normally you hear other things too. Like a condition could be they want you to have employment so you can prove that it's a safe place for the children. They would have to be ordered, and I would hope they are after the testimony from this last week. They're ordered to make sure the house is livable for those children as well. To CPS standards, to guardian ad litem standards, that the house is livable. Which, when they talked about the conditions, that's not the case. So that should be ordered as well. Next red flag. Jenelle and David were ordered by a judge early on into the case with a gag order. Gag order meaning you can't talk about this online or anywhere public, really. You have to kind of keep it to yourself, which is completely understandable. I don't even have to explain it. They have not been following that based on their online posts, based on coming near those children, and they're still not held accountable. Makes zero sense to me. Zero sense, absolutely. And then just this past Thursday, David was online talking about he's going to expose Nathan's past, and again, that is trying to intimidate a witness, which is very illegal, and that has not been addressed either. Not only has it not been addressed, but they had to go to a birthday party 2 days later without court supervision. Nathan did explain in a post during or after the birthday party of why they allowed Jenelle and David to come to the birthday party. He states his girlfriend Ashley gave him the idea to let them come to the birthday party. Granted, he just said 2 days ago before that he's worried for Kaiser to be around David. He says it yet again. He said it multiple times. But all of a sudden, Ashley brings us up, and Nathan goes to his lawyer. Those are his words, his lawyer. And the lawyer thinks it's a great idea. He said, so the lawyers worked it out. Lawyers, I'm thinking he means his lawyer and Jenelle's. Now, I have to be sure that a judge signed off on this, but I could be wrong too. I mean, things have been fishy the whole time. If the judge signed off on it, that's really fucking shady as well. Not only did Nathan invite Jenelle and David, but knowing this, Barb also came with Ensley. They both, let me repeat, they both have guardianship of these children through the court system, and they are risking it. I mean, when Nathan suggested it to his lawyer, and they brought it to Jenelle's lawyer, hell yeah, they're gonna do it. Because it's putting a hole in Nathan's case. Now he can't say that he feels his child is in danger being around David. They're gonna flip that on him. He's gonna be a witness for the defense. Trust and believe. From experience, trust and believe. He is gonna be a witness to help her. So I'm sick of hearing the arguments of it was court ordered. No, it was a choice. Nathan started this by asking his lawyer, and then it got approved by the courts. Which again, they're stupid if they did approve it, but that started off as a choice. Barbara had a choice as well. Several have also said that Jenelle and David got to go to Kaiser's birthday party because it's normal when the parents lose a child to CPS that they're able to attend big events like birthday, Christmas. No, that is not the case. I know firsthand experience, if a parent loses a child, temporarily or not, and they're having visits with them like that 1 hour a week visitation, the parents would bring the presents to the visitation center to celebrate the birthday. That sounds sad, I know, but that's the way it is. With the CPS worker or the visitation center employee behind the glass watching during the visit. They would bring the presents in, like I said. Same goes for Christmas. They may bring the presents there to give to the kid, but they're not getting invited to Christmas dinner with the kid. Give me a break. I will also point out that this case has not been going on a very long time, which makes me say there are steps in a CPS process. And what I mean by that is you start with the court-ordered visitation, hour a week or however much they allow, under supervision. After you prove you're able to do that without issues, then you can have visits where you're taking the child out of the visitation center, but that CPS worker has to be with you. It's all done in steps, and there's no way in hell that this is what was supposed to happen right now, that they were supposed to go to a birthday party unsupervised. And for the people that are saying, oh, well, there was 10 adults, 8 kids there, so nothing could have happened. Do you really want to test that damn theory? I feel David's capable of a school shooting. I mean, why do you want to risk that with your kid? Get the fuck out of here. If they are not held accountable for that soon, there's going to be another huge red flag. I find it very ironic that all this is happening right after there's a new judge. This is very fishy to me. There's a lot of holes in this case, and honestly, it's annoying the ever-living hell out of me. I try to be respectful of others' opinions, and I don't get mad if people disagree with me, but this is blatant disregard. This is something everybody should agree on. People are commending Nathan. Oh, that's great co-parenting. That's great co-parenting. Yeah, it is great co-parenting if you were in a custody situation. Because one of the requirements to have custody of a child, custody and CPS are two different things. A requirement to have custody of a child is that they want to see that whoever gets custody will be able to keep a positive relationship between both parents. So in that instance, it would make him look great. But that's not this instance. CPS is completely different. CPS removed your child from the home out of concern for safety and given them the bare minimum as far as visitation goes. Custody is when one parent's going against the other of who would have full custody, kind of like Leah and Corey, but the other parent would still get visitation, and there may not be safety concerns, it's just other factors. And then people ask, oh, well, it's crazy that David behaved while they were there. Hell yeah, he behaved. Because it's going to make their case look good. I am pretty sure, like I said, especially if nothing's really done about this instance, those 2 kids are going back to them. I don't know about Marissa. They're putting the stuff she's went through testifying, they're putting that little girl at risk as well by pulling this crap. I do not think it was any part of a being a bigger person thing. I'm going to get to my genuine opinion on that soon. My mind's blown when I came to that conclusion. Nathan said Kaiser wanted his mom, and he didn't say David, Kaiser wanted his mom to be at the party. And I feel bad for the kid that, he doesn't have his mom. It's a hard situation to understand. I completely get all that. However, you're going to let a 5-year-old make a decision for his own safety? He doesn't know whether it's dangerous or not, to some extent, even though he knows David hit him. He doesn't see it like most adults would. That's why it's your job as an adult to protect your child, whether they like it or not, and they will understand someday. So with Nathan and Barbara pulling this, they're just as bad as Jenelle and David, in my opinion, because when that judge said Jenelle does not have those kids because she did not do anything to protect them, Barb and Nathan are doing the same thing right now. Maybe not as extreme, because I don't think either one of them would hurt the kids, but subconsciously, you're hurting the kids by doing this. And just this week as well, keep in mind, CPS worker was on the stand. Janelle's lawyer has been digging into that workers as well as many other officials' past. I would not be surprised if this is a blackmail situation now. And none of this has been called out. That's what's blowing my mind. That none of this has been called out. And it just continues to happen. Like a court said the kids need to be supervised for an hour a week, but this is okay? No damn sense at all. I'm going to go to the end of my theory here. I truly believe that Barb and Nathan were so agreeing on having this birthday party because they're in hopes that Jenelle and David get these kids back and that MTV will bring them back. So Barb and Nathan can be on MTV again. I don't care what you say. That's my thought and opinion. And these red flags are blowing my mind.